Hey everyone, welcome. This is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan, and I'm about to do a live debate with none other than Vegan Cheetah. Particularly, I'm going to take him to issue with his definition of vegan and veganism that he's put out there in the past few weeks. I have some questions about this rather bizarre, what I find to be a bizarre definition, so I'd like to get his 2 cents on it. And other things he's talked about, like the health consequences, so let's get started. I see him in the guest queue here, and I will make him a guest. Let's see if this works out. All right, yes, this is better than TV. I hope so. I hope it's not a big letdown, huh? That's why I didn't try to build it up for like weeks or something like that. I just, kind of started it yesterday, this whole thing. So I see Charles. Does Charles see me? And I let the people know this is not going to be like Jerry Springer. I'm not going to throw a chair at you and call you a mofo and all this stuff and do all this crazy hip hop dancing and stuff like that. It's going to be a real debate, in the old school sense, a real actual debate. Try to keep it to logic, to facts, to rational thought. We'll leave the personal insults and attacks out. I plan to, and I assume you will too.
Yeah, I can agree to that, yes.
Okay, we got that out of the way. It's not going to be a sissy debate here, but we're just not going to take it to this low place. All right, cool. I'm glad we're both on board with that. All right, so you ready to get started?
I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready.
All right, cool. And thanks for doing this. That says a lot about you. All right, so anyway, your definition of vegan. I've seen this over the past few weeks. I watched it again several times today just to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding anything there. Thanks, Sailing Lucy Day there. I want to say it seemed like, but I've watched it several times more, and I don't want to say the word seem anymore. You are coming out and saying that a person can be vegan, not just vegan inspired, but be vegan and still have meat on the weekends. Explain. Did I get that right? And don't try to wiggle out of it. I saw you say that several times there.
Yes, you did get that right. The point that I'm trying to make with that statement is that even somebody that is vegan for, let's say, 4 or 5 days out of the week, 100% plant-based vegan diet, they could be doing it for dietary reasons. They could be doing it for ethical reasons. They could be doing it for environmental reasons. There's many different aspects of this thing. But it is a shade or a form of veganism in itself. And the point of it is not to determine how vegan an individual is. The point of me making that statement is that I think we need to accept that there are people out there that are already doing this. There are people out there that would be willing to do this, but it's hard for these people to really have, I guess, a spot in the discussion or a voice in the discussion because they would be shamed for not being vegan as I, or maybe as vegan as you are.
We could unpack a whole lot from there, but let me just stop you right there.
Yeah.
If they're just vegan on the weekends, are they a vegan?
If they're vegan on the weekends?
Or either way, or just vegan on weekdays. Either way.
So let's say they're vegan on weekdays.
Okay.
Jenna Marbles, actually, back in the day before she was...
Yeah.
There was one point in time where she described herself as... she said she was vegan. She
6 days a week.
Kept a vegan diet 6 days a week.
There's an asterisk there, 6 days a week. I don't remember her saying, yes, I am a vegan, wearing a vegan shirt.
Vegan.
So let me just ask you this. So you're saying, so according to your definition, if someone is vegan, say 5 or 6 days a week, they are vegan. They can call themselves vegan. They are vegan, like I'm vegan.
I'm not saying that listen, nobody has to identify as being vegan. And I want to go back to this point, Ryan. It's not to determine how vegan an individual is. But I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody, with the majority of the population that was willing to do something that resembles more of like a plant-based diet most of the time. It may not be 100% like you and I, But I really I don't see what's wrong with that. If somebody
Okay,
was like, I'm
let me
vegan 5 days out of the week,
let me
it's
let
a
me
form of
unpack that.
veganism.
Let me unpack that a little bit more, because I think I understand where your idea is coming from, and it comes from a good place. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're trying to, which we do here at Happy Healthy with Vegan. We've been doing this our whole time. We're trying to be inclusive. We're not trying to be the vegan police. We're not trying to tell people like, oh, you can't watch our show, you can't come to our meetups. A lot of people write us, I want to come to your meetup, but I'm not vegan. It's like, no, come, learn, get inspired. We've never been exclusive of people, and people write us all the time, like, I'm almost vegan. I'm vegan 5 days a week. They know they're not vegan, and here's what I'm getting at. You can be influenced by a vegan diet. You can be drawn to it, and that's awesome. We want people's minds to be open, because so many people's minds are shut to veganism, right? We want them to be feel included and open to all the great information about vegan diets. However, here's where I disagree with you here. They're not vegan yet if they're still not vegan, because vegan is, if you're vegan 5 days a week, that's it. You're vegan with a little asterisk. 5 days a week and 2 days a week, you're not. They know. People say I'm not vegan yet. I'm on my way, and I say, bless you, awesome. This is awesome. This is what I want to hear. But they have the wisdom not to call themselves vegan. Just like I told you when I went vegan, it wasn't like you. It wasn't overnight. I went vegan for like a week in San Francisco in the mid 2000s, and I loved it. But I knew I wasn't vegan yet. I said I spent this whole week vegan, and it gave me the insight and the belief that I could do it someday, which I ended up doing. So what I'm getting at is, where do you have any basis and like like other people using the word vegan the way you do, where if you're vegan 3 days, 5 days a week, you are a vegan? Here's what I'm getting at. Vegan is it's a category. At first, I likened it to being a marathoner. I remember your definition. You seek to, all this stuff. Like, I might seek to run a marathon. I mean, I can't call myself one yet. I've never ran 26.2 miles. I could run 20, and I'm still not a marathoner. I haven't done it yet. But I figured out, no, a marathon's a thing. You achieve it, and then you could forget about it the rest of your life. Veganism is something you're kind of actively doing day to day, and I likened it more to sobriety. You're either sober or you're not. You can't be like sober till 4 or sober on the weekends. And people know that. And if they stick to like the standard definition, you can't call them a dinosaur. Like, sober is sober. And I think vegan is like that. And I'm not trying to be some kind of fascist. I'm just looking at how the word is traditionally used. And it's used in this more sense of sober. It's like you're either vegan or you're not. Either you're eating meat and dairy and eggs or you're not. Neither you're staying sober or you're not. What do you think of that analogy?
Well, there's a few commenters that are, when you were talking about the transitioning phase.
Yeah, okay, let's go back there. All right.
There's a few commenters that were saying I would call them maybe transitional vegans. They're vegans in transition. But
that's not vegan. But that's not vegan. As I'm saying, they're cool. They're aspiring vegans, transitional vegans, but they're not vegan yet. They're vegan.
It's not vegan the way that you're vegan, but for an individual to drastically change their diet and consume much less meat and dairy products and start to make changes in that direction, that is veganism. Again, like, we're not trying to determine how vegan somebody is, but the concept of veganism is very, very black and white in that, or is very, very gray and not black and white in that way. But
I disagree with that. Okay, but anyway, continue.
Going back to your very last point, where you said that veganism, it's like you're either vegan or you're not. I'm challenging people to think of it a little bit differently, and you described it as the traditional, meaning, or the traditional interpretation of what veganism is. I think we need to relook at that. I really do. And especially on social media, I think we need to relook at that, because there's extreme examples. This is an extreme example, but numerous times there have been people that were claiming to be vegans. Fully Raw Christina was the latest victim of this, trial on social media. And
her shoes, right?
Claim to be a vegan, but they get caught wearing leather shoes, and all of a sudden they're denounced for that. it may not be as vegan as you are, but that was a form of veganism. I mean, I
No,
don't think anybody legitimately
here's
deny that somebody like Fully Raw Christina is not vegan.
Here's the deal. The Christina example shows that no one claims to be perfect. I saw someone in the comments saying no one's a perfect vegan, Ryan. And I know I'm not absolutely perfect. I'm sure, like, bugs and animals might get killed to produce some of the food I make,
and that's the gray area.
And Mr. Vegan told us all very eloquently, you can go out and get a car with, like, non-leather, pure vegan seats and everything and interior, but the steering wheel is what screws you, so a lot of people think they're being fully cool. They might have some leather or something on the steering wheel. And, you go to a restaurant and they don't always bring it to you correctly, and you discover it after you eat it. No one is perfect. So I'm not saying a vegan has to be perfect.
Ryan,
that's not part of the definition.
Ryan, why are you excluded from the concept that it's very, very gray? Even in circumstances like that, why should we be excluded from that concept that even our veganism is extremely gray? It's not black or white. If I go and buy a car, like, I need a car here in California. Yeah. The last thing on my mind is going to be worrying about what kind of seats I can get in the car. I would prefer non-leather seats, but
Absolutely.
That's the last thing that I'm worried about at this point in time, So
yeah, I'm not the vegan police, and I'm not going to come out and say, "Oh, I'm not going to make a video about Charles's new car proves he's not a vegan because it has a leather steering wheel." I'm not going to make that, And in fact, leather seats usually cost more as an upgrade. You're probably better off getting the cloth seats if money's a factor. So I'm not trying to say we're perfect, but I'm getting back. Like, these are the peripheral issues. I like to say diet is the anchor, and the things that happen out on the outside, like your clothes and cars, that's important. I'm not diminishing that, but really the anchor is the diet, and that's what I want to stick to here, if you don't mind. Like, I want to get back to this whole thing about.
You believe that the anchor is the diet, though? Like, just.
I mean, that's we're eating.
That's an way of describing it. No, I haven't heard that yet. The anchor.
I mean, in the sense that we're eating, it's because really, when you think about it, we're eating, 3, 4, 5 times a day. That's something we're doing every day. We're not buying a car every day. We're not buying leather shoes every day. The food is really the major thing. That's what people really need the most help with, what to eat, all that stuff. So, I mean, and that's what the definition, of veganism. I guess it doesn't say eating here. I'm looking at the one that you picked from the Vegan Society here, but I mean, when you really get down to it, yeah, the food is huge, and if you're not even doing the food, it's the best you can, meaning not having meat and dairy and eggs, I'm saying it's kind of a process. Work on that, and then then you could start, once you got your diet down. All right, cool, I get it now. Oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't be getting the leather seat, stuff like that. Why, you disagree that diet's like maybe the anchor is the wrong word here?
No, I like how you describe that. I do. I'm not. I think it's possible we should consider that the anchor of veganism should be the diet. But then again, if somebody is vegan 100% and they get caught wearing leather shoes, or they got, some cosmetics that aren't vegan, it is, in that way, it's very, very great. Now, I want to say this, Ryan. I want to say this. I feel like a lot of people are under the misconception that I'm trying to convince people to call themselves vegan even if they're eating meat or dairy products, and I'm not.
No, what are you saying? Be clear here, because I'm confused too, so I can see why people are saying that.
Okay. What I would like to do on my channel is encourage people to consume more plants and less meat and dairy products without the pressure of eliminating meat and dairy products. For me personally, I'm not saying for your channel or for Richard's channel or anybody's channel, but for me, I just think that's a message that's important, and I think it's a message that's relevant. And I do feel like a lot of people have this utopian vision that through YouTube we're going to somehow convince everybody to eliminate meat and dairy products completely, restricting their source of nutrition to only plant-based foods.
Oh, we're going to go to that in a second.
That's not my message. That's not the highlighted message on my channel anymore. And I don't know why I should be denounced for that.
Well, here's the thing. I've always done the same thing. I've never like pressured people that watch our show, people we meet in real life, that you have to go 100% vegan. You have to do it immediately, because I know how my path went. I didn't do that. So how can I be a hypocrite and expect everyone to do that? So I agree with you on that. You know, we shouldn't expect everyone. I would like that. That would be awesome, but I know it's going to happen. But we just lead by being good examples, and people write us like, hey, I've been watching your show now, and I was like 10% vegan. Now I'm like 80% on my way. Cool. That's what I want. That's success. But I don't feel like I need to like alter or radically tweak the definition of vegan to do that, because they know they're on their way. They're on the path. You know, that's what I'm saying. Why do we need to change the definition of vegan to include people that have meat on the weekends? To me, that seems unnecessary to make them feel included. They know they're on the vegan path. They're vegan inspired. They don't need to feel like they're vegans with an asterisk or something like that. It's almost kind of insulting a little bit.
Ryan, I've said it before, and I will say it again.
Okay, be clear, because be clear.
I'm perfectly fine with the current definition. You know, if we're going to use the vegansociety.com's definition, I think that's a really good reference point to start debate. The way that I interpret that definition, you know, I see a lot of very subjective language in there, and I see a statement that is open to interpretation, and it could be open to interpretation not only on the diet, but also on the other aspects, such as clothing, such as cosmetics, such as, you know, the whole issue that even if you are plant-based and you are 100% vegan with your diet, animals still are, you know, killed, and environments are destroyed, or tampered with. You know, even the diet itself, you know, I just feel like there's a lot of gray area there. So I'm not trying to change the definition. I interpret the definition much differently and much more subjectively than I think most people are.
Can you name one? Can you name me one other person, hopefully a prominent person rather than some dude you met on the corner or something like that, that has the definition like you, that includes, and I want to say, here's what I find kind of absurd, is that your definition allows for people who eat meat on weekends, say, to call themselves a vegan. To me, that just, like, again, it's like sober on weekend. Who else shares this definition?
I'm not asking that people call themselves vegan. That, like, whether you identify as a vegan or not, I don't really care. But with the concept of veganism, you know, reducing the suffering of animals, I think that a 5-day-a-week vegan, a 3-day-a-week vegan fits somewhere in that spectrum there. You know, if they realize eating animals is causing environmental problems, and let's say they want to reduce the harm to the environment, and they're consuming more plants and less animals throughout the week, that fits somewhere in the concept of veganism itself. It's not
just
I agree. How vegan somebody is.
They're in the concept. Like I said, they're vegan inspired, vegan influence, vegan whatever, vegan asterisk, but they're not vegan without an asterisk or some qualification. So I'm saying that if we can agree on that, that's cool. I'm fine with that. Like vegan with some kind of qualification, but they cannot be a vegan and by any definition I know of and still have meat on the weekends. It just kind of dilutes the whole definition of vegan, because by that definition, I mean, most of the world could call themselves vegan. I mean, there's no distinction anymore between vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian, omnivore. It seems like we just eat food, and these words lose their meanings. I'm not trying to be a stickler for these things like old school or dinosaur, like you say. I'm just saying I'm trying to respect what these words mean, and they really have specific meanings. And that, as someone has put it here, yeah, we can call them plant-based. I'm cool with that. I said vegan-inspired or vegan what have you, but what do you, final line? I know I've asked this like 10 times in different ways. Bottom line, what do you think? If you're eating meat on weekends, vegan, yes or no?
Are you asking me? Or the chat?
Yeah, bottom line. Yeah, I'm asking you. Yeah, I'm asking you. Bottom line. All right, we'll leave it here. I know we talked about this like 20 minutes. If you're eating meat on the weekends, is that person a vegan?
For me personally, I wouldn't eat meat on the weekends and call myself vegan.
Not you, but but just by the definition, if someone's eating meat.
If somebody says I'm vegan, like if somebody were to tell me I'm vegan, but you know the clause or the fine print is, you know, it's only 5 days a week. like I could hang out with that person. I could go out to eat with that person.
Sure. I'm not saying we
could,
can't. Yeah, we have them. They come to our meetups and we hang out with them, and sometimes we go out and eat with them after. That's cool. But are they a vegan? Yes or no?
Well, I think it's important to be open-minded.
Yes, we're open-minded. We want them to come. We want them to listen and learn.
It may not be my veganism, Ryan. It may not be my veganism, but I'm not going to be the one to tell them they're not vegan. Especially if they're doing it for ethical, environmental reasons.
Why would you tell them they're not a vegan? Because if they're a normal, relatively rational person, they're not going to walk up and say, I eat meat twice on the weekends, I'm a vegan. You're not going to deny them. No one's going to proclaim they're vegan if they're still eating meat. That's what I'm saying. Are they a vegan or not? I know they're vegan 5 days. I'll buy that. They're living a vegan diet for 5 days a week. And I'm just talking about diet now. I don't know what's going on in their head about ethics and all that stuff, but they're eating a vegan diet 5 days a week, but meat on the weekends. So yes or no, are they a vegan? Because I say, for me, definitely no. By any definition of vegan I've ever heard, any definition, you can pull anyone out.
I'm going to be honest with you, Ryan. The way I want to answer this is, and this is going to be my final answer. It's not it's not the version of veganism that I choose. And I'll say that much. It's not what I would choose to do in it. I personally, when claiming myself to be a vegan, I personally wouldn't eat meat on the weekends. But that's just me.
Okay, so I'm not going to get a yes or no out of you, but let me just ask you this, and if you don't want to answer, it's cool. Can we agree to this, perhaps?
Okay.
That we don't really need to come out and say that they're vegan or not vegan, because I think all these people that they eat meat on the weekends don't even consider themselves vegan. But just we should continue to be inclusive and welcoming as we've always done, and we're not going to tell people you're a bad person, you're a piece of crap if you're not a vegan. That's not our message. Never has been. Can we just say, hey, we're welcoming all people and all portions on their journey, on their path of veganism, and we don't need to say they're vegan if they're not vegan.
See, Ryan, this is the most ridiculous part about this whole controversy is we actually don't have a problem with people that claim to be vegan and they're eating meat on the weekends. Do you know of any YouTuber that's doing that? Oh, I'm vegan. And do you know of anybody that's the most ridiculous part about this whole thing is that nobody's really doing that. It's like we have this, for some reason, there's this hysteria on YouTube right now that all of a sudden meat-eating vegans are just going to come out of the wilderness or out of the swamps and, take over. And the reality situation is I don't think anybody that eats meat on the weekends is really claiming to be vegan.
I think what's getting most people upset, because I can speak for myself, and it has the appearance that you're really radically interpreting the definition of veganism, and to the point where it's kind of watered down and loses its meaning as it kind of be reduced to everyone's vegan. I think that's what people are getting upset about. And if you could maybe address that, you don't have to do it right now, but think about that for future episodes. How to evolve your definition of vegan so that your intent gets through without pissing everyone off.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that. I can. Yeah, I could understand that.
Okay. Cool.
Hey,
let's. Oh, you have a comment? What's that?
Well, I wanted to. Maybe I'm not articulating things properly.
Wendy, I have shot up. Let me stress someone here in the comment. Wendy, I've been talking about shades of gray. I'm just talking about the definition. I don't care if I'm not going to look down on someone if they're not vegan. I don't. That my whole friends and family clique are not vegan. People that come to our meetups are not vegan. We're welcoming. So don't try to put us out there some kind of staunchy, hardcore people. I'm just looking at the definition of veganism, how it's been used through the ages, and discussing that with Charles. Anyway, what were you going to say there, Charles?
Well, I just wanted to read a comment that articulates the concept of the spectrum or the concept of the umbrella. I don't know if I can find it here right now. The way they had put this was very, very elegant. I might have to save that for another time. I had pinned it, and then I think I pinned something else. But listen, Ryan, I feel like everybody's caught up in this hysteria, and I really do feel like people are legitimately worried that all of a sudden there's going to be meat-eating vegans walking around on YouTube. And the reality is, that's not going to happen. So I
Who
think
knows?
everybody should kind of pipe down a little bit and, not be so close-minded to the idea that we need to recognize that there are many aspects of veganism, not just the diet, but there's many aspects of veganism. And
I think people
in
agree with
relation
that.
to each other, it's a spectrum. Some people choose only, like, can I ask you a question? Do you mind if I ask you a question?
Sure.
I know
No, it's a full-on debate. No, it's a full-on debate. Feel free.
if
It's part of it.
somebody is vegan only with their diet and they could care less about getting into the cosmetics or the clothing
Or the ethics.
Huh?
And the ethics too, right? They don't care about anything
Well, let's say
other
they're
than diet.
vegan ethically, for dietary reasons. Let's say it, but they're lazy and they just never decide to apply it in other areas of their life. Are they vegan?
Diet. I have I think a lot of people might find my way of looking at how to tell some not tell. My way of defining vegan might be a little different than most people's, because I've actually come to veganism through the science of it. And when you read all the scientific studies done researching vegan diets, comparing them to others, they don't ask the subjects if what they think about the animals, what they think about leather and cosmetics. They're solely concerned about what's going on in their diet and measuring the responses. So if we're as vegans here, vegan YouTubers and channels citing these studies, talking about the benefits of a vegan diet, all the great health benefits, and we accept that the subjects in these studies may have not give a damn about anything other than what they were forced to eat. I want to take that as a solid definition of vegan. Sure, I would hope that after, like, I didn't go vegan necessarily for all those reasons that I am now. You would think, though, after you've gone vegan, say for dietary reasons, you might think about, yeah, no animals had to die for me this week. That's totally awesome. And you think about, oh my God, when I buy a leather shoe, that kills an animal. So it goes on and on. But I think that what you're saying there is, what I'm getting is that people are on, as I've said before, different parts of the path of their vegan journey. They're not going to get all the stuff at the same time. So I'm not going to criticize someone if they're vegan just for one reason and don't see the other things that I think are super important too. I tell you, I have a really open, inclusive message. I want people to come and be happy vegans, and to call people pieces of crap because they're not where I'm at, because they don't do it exactly like I do. I'm not that conceited. I'm very humble in that. So I hope I answered your question there.
Yeah. I'd like to say two things. I don't want to go on too long with it. We can always do this again, maybe next weekend or something. But what I do want to say is I am not advocating that vegans go back to eating meat or consuming dairy. I'm not advocating that.
Good, because a lot of people have been saying that.
Yeah, and I understand. Maybe some of my statements may have gave that impression on people. But what I am advocating for is that people that are not vegan consume more plants and less meat. I don't necessarily promote all plants, no meat, and I'm going to pressure you to eliminate meat. Like, that's not maybe my message. It's some people's message, which is fine. But that's what I'm advocating for. But I do want to say, some of the people, what I like to call the vegan social media elite, usually the YouTubers in the 100,000 subscriber range and stuff like that.
That's me. That's me, man. Yes,
I would say at Happy Healthy Vegan,
I'm the media elite here. I like that. That sounds like I'm important.
I would consider you guys the vegan social.
We don't. We don't think we are. Anyway.
But you guys are a channel that I would say is much more inclusive as far as your message goes, where you do want to bring people in. And there's people that you're associated with, that I'm associated with, that are what I would call militant vegans, and their content, at least, I don't know how they would really feel in real life, but their content and their message on YouTube isn't a message of inclusion, and it's not the most inviting either. So, that.
But I mean, that's not a function of anything other than how that particular person is. They just happen to be a vegan. They probably just weren't that open, inclusive before they were anyway. Who knows? But so you have another point.
The point I'm trying to make is I want to be radically different from that mindset, that approach, and that form of talking about more plants, less meat.
I mean, that's the way to get started for sure. Absolutely. I mean, that's it. We were actually dabbling on the next issue I wanted to hit up, and it relates to the videos you've been putting out the past few weeks, like the things that made the hair raise on the back of my neck a little bit. Yeah, you have that effect on me sometimes. It's about when you said, I'm going to take a quote from you almost here. You said, if you go 100% vegan, you're going to suffer health consequences. And you gave a whole little list of them, such as some benign things like dry skin and all the way to protein deficiency and brain problems from no DHA.
Yeah.
First of all, where did you get this statistic from that if you go 100% vegan, you're going to suffer health consequences? I mean, is this some kind of fact, or I don't understand what this means, what it is?
Yeah,
hair loss was one?
The way I said it, if I could go back and remake that statement, I would have said that there's going to be, what I meant was that there's positive and negatives to every decision in your life. And yes, I do think a vegan diet has really, really good consequences. It has benefits. And when I use the word consequences, I was trying to describe good and bad outcomes. But Ryan, every decision you make has benefits and consequences. I don't see why going vegan would be any different.
I don't know. I've had many. I get what you're saying, but I've had a lot of times, and I take note of this. I have gratitude and happiness. I go, this is a win-win or a win-win-win when you can see absolutely no negative. And for me, I see no negative of going vegan. There really isn't. I mean, it's. I mean, here's what I'm getting at. A lot of like meat eaters, like, come and hating in the comments, say some of these same things, which is kind of shocking that you're a vegan advocate, yet putting out the same arguments. Like, yeah, I mean, I've done so many videos debunking like these paleo bloggers saying if you go vegan, a classic symptom you will get is protein deficiency, or yeah, you're gonna get brain problems from no DHA. And that's what I'm saying. It's kind of sad and shocking to see a vegan saying these same unfounded, unsubstantiated things. I'm not saying, yeah, everything's going to be perfect in your life, but these are things that are clearly not vegan problems as long as you are eating whole food as opposed to just eating like, potato chips every day as a vegan. If you're eating a healthy diet like those, great doctors you got to sit there next to with are advocating, you're probably not going to have brain problems and protein deficiency and all that. So I'm just wondering. Okay.
I think it's shocking for people on vegan YouTube to hear those kind of statements because nobody from the vegan social media elite has ever really talked about that kind of stuff. But Ryan, there are YouTubers that are, they're obscure, they're very small channels, but I'm not the only one, and I watch a lot of different stuff online, and there's several channels. I mean, I'd be happy to provide links and tell people where they can get a little bit more of a scientific breakdown of this.
And what are they saying?
Well, let me just give you an example. There is a YouTuber, Homegrown Big. I believe his real name is Victor. He was a part of the Raw Till 4 community, like back on the Raw Till 4 forums. He was a vegan for, I think, like 9 or 10 years or something. And he considers himself a plant-based omnivore now. And he's actually, he does have degrees in science, biology, I think some kind of microbiology to do with plants. And he does advocate, a plant-based diet. But what he doesn't advocate anymore is eliminating or restricting any food groups whatsoever. And he does talk a lot about his, his diet, why he left veganism, why he introduced meat and dairy products. Now, I haven't done that, but there are people out there that are outside of the vegan social media elite that are talking about this. So just because, maybe we haven't heard it, it doesn't mean that those sentiments and those discussions aren't being had.
I'm trying to understand what you're saying, though. So let me just ask you. I'm just going back to your quote. You said if you go 100% vegan, you're going to suffer health consequences. So are you talking about all vegans are going to have some kind of negative health consequence as going vegan?
I think everybody, for every decision they make in life, they're going to have a positive and a negative, consequence.
Okay,
absolutely. And
that's what you said. So
it doesn't be any different.
So okay, so like just for example,
Gaines himself is taking, injecting B12 because he doesn't think he's getting enough B12. Like that's a consequence of his diet, his lifestyle? I mean,
Well, you know,
is that
B12
deniable?
is an absorption issue. He might lack intrinsic factor and other things, which it doesn't relate to veganism. So
It could be. He
let's
might not
well
even be
let's
vitamin B12 deficient.
Oh,
You know
let's
what I mean? Like,
explore
that's
me, and
ridiculous.
I'll be completely honest with you, 100% straight up, no lies. You can ask me anything. I cannot. I'm trying to expand my mind here as big as I can here. I'm trying to think of any negatives because you said if you go to 100% vegan, you get health consequences, negative ones. Because I've only had positive ones. I agree, you're going to get health consequences, but good ones. I haven't had anything happen yet, bro, and it's been like since 2000. It's 2010. I mean, shouldn't something happen now? Like,
Oh,
you know?
I'm no, I mean I'm happy to hear that. Believe me, I am. I think that's great, and I think telling people your experience and your experience, strength, and hope. I think is a great thing. And by the way, I'm on 10% battery right now.
Ooh.
So
Do you have a
wrap up.
charger? Can you plug it into your computer or
Yeah,
something like
give
that?
me just a moment. I'll dig. Yeah,
Okay.
I got it right here. I got it right
All
here.
right, take your time. Take your time. No worries. I'll kind of see what's going on in the
What I
comments.
want, I am happy to hear that. I am. But how do you explain? How do you explain like the severe weight gain of some of the the people from? I mean, let's talk about I mean, without picking on her too much, but whoa, we still there?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
How do you explain Julia Bohr's situation?
Well, I don't know. What do they eat?
How do you
Do you
explain
know? I don't know. Are they eating junk food? I mean, that could be part of it. Are they eating a lot of vegan junk food? Maybe they have a history of what's that word, like, fasting or anorexia, stuff like that can mess with how your body responds. And that's
Yeah.
not a vegan thing. That's just because what they did to their bodies before. I'm just saying, you're saying just like if a healthy person goes vegan, they're going to have 100% negative health consequences. I just don't understand how that works if you're eating, a base. And you saw how we eat. That's why a lot of people are, why'd you invite Charles over to dinner at your house? One reason is because I was on the 10-day clean eating challenge. I didn't want to go to Russians. But secondly, I really just want to show you how Angie and I really eat. It's really simple, cheap food. It's beans,
good,
rice,
too.
potatoes. And I wanted to show you how tasty it can be. It's just feeling good. It feels good. It fills you up. And it's just good, healthy food. So I'm saying if someone's eating, a pretty cheap but healthy vegan diet, which is not too hard to do, I'm not sure what deficiencies would develop from eating foods that's full of all this good stuff.
Yeah, Ryan, I think it's great. And for me personally, I've experienced tremendous benefits, but I noticed like some things about my skin, I don't know if you can see it. Now, I can't help but wonder if, there's an issue in my diet, and maybe it's not just a vegan thing, but I'm on a vegan diet. But what I do want to say this, Ryan,
Yes.
with everything that you say, and with everything that most vegans would say on YouTube, I just am not convinced. Okay, if you can feel free to continue to try to sway me, but just in the future or whatever. But I am not convinced that eliminating all meat and dairy products or restricting any food group for every single person out there in the world, I'm not convinced that that's what everybody should be doing.
Well,
I'm just not convinced.
everybody is huge. I'm sure there's some bizarre diseases I've not heard of, that, someone might have to have animal protein. Because I know people have weird protein diseases and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So I'm just saying,
but not even that.
excluding a bizarre, weird disease that affects maybe a half a percentage of the people out there at most. Just talk about regular
I'm not talking about that,
people.
though.
Because you said everyone. I can't speak for everyone. There's weird things out there.
Yeah, well, but I'm just saying, genetics do vary, and so does biochemical makeup. I'm not comfortable with promoting on my channel restricting any food groups.
What do you mean by a food group? Meat? You calling meat a food group?
Well, Ryan, let's be honest. Human beings did eat meat, for thousands, if not millions of years. I mean, that's a fact.
No, that's not a fact. Humans have only been around as Homo sapien for a few 100,000 years, and Homo erectus probably a couple million years before that. And Homo erectus was a tuber eating creature. They came down from the jungles and found all these like fibers, tubers in the ground, and they cooked them. That was their dietary supply. That's what made our brains big. A lot of scientists first thought it was meat. It was actually carbohydrate from potatoes and roots and stuff like that. So yeah, meat was part of it, but we're, as McDougall likes to talk about, a carb creature, basically. Starch eating creature.
Well, okay, but you're admitting that, yeah, meat was probably part of it, and meat has been a part of, the human diet for a long time. So yeah, I would consider it a food group. It's not a food group I participate in or, I indulge in, but I would say it's a food group. But yes, that's what I'm saying is on my channel, I'm just, I'm not qualified, number one, to be telling anybody what to eat, really, and I think deep down inside, most of us can admit that too, whether we'll do it publicly or not. And yeah, that, it's just, my message is much different than I would say what the status quo is, but it doesn't make me any less vegan than anybody else. And it doesn't make anybody else more vegan than me or less vegan than me. And I think if people were consuming more plants and less meat, and lots of people were doing that, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think that's aces in my book.
So let me just get back to this. We keep going off in these different directions, which are interesting in their own right. But I want to take you to task on the original quote I got from him. If you go 100% vegan, you're going to suffer health consequences. So you're saying that as like a categorical condition.
It could be positive consequences or negative consequences. That's
you said suffer. You said the word suffer health consequences. That implies the negative, not suffer good health or something like that.
Well, Ryan, looking back on that statement and hearing it quoted, if I could make that statement again, I would say it differently.
Why don't I challenge you? Not challenge you, but yeah, offer you the opportunity to make a video and talk about health consequences of going vegan and how it's not a slam dunk thing that you will suffer negative health consequences as a result of changing your diet, from meat to not meat.
Well, that
would clear it up. I think that might make some people understand if that was your point intended, because it's sure been taken not like that. So I think it would just benefit you if that's really what your message is. It would be great to set the record straight with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I could say on my broadcast that yes, I don't think veganism itself, 100% is going to, cause you to experience really, really bad health consequences. But I think it's a concept. I think it's a reality that there may be some negative consequences to a vegan diet for some people that it's just not talked about.
And there may be some people who don't get negative consequences of a vegan diet too. So here's what I'm saying. A lot of people perceive you as focusing too much on the negative stuff. And let me get to this too, because like you said that Bananiac's high-carb vegan diet is what caused him to go bald. You're talking about balding. And here's the thing. Why didn't you say, okay, Ryan eats a high-carb vegan diet. He's twice Bananiac's age and has this giant head of hair. You could have said that. You could have looked at the positive, but instead you looked at the negative and ignored that all of Bananiac's male relatives are bald and none of them are vegan. Yeah. So I'm saying what?
Well, I should probably. I want to make changes, and I do want to be more of a positive outlet, or I do want more positive aspects of my content to show. So, you are right about that, Ryan. My channel has a reputation for being extremely negative, and that's one thing that I would like to change, to be honest.
Is it too late?
I don't think so. I mean, if I had listened to, people tell me it was too late to get clean and sober and get my life together,
True.
I'd be still out there using drugs and, I'm not doing that. So,
you're right. It's all about the present, and standing up in the present for what you think is the right course of action. And you should perhaps make a video coming out and saying, maybe you shouldn't have said things the way you did. Maybe you wanted to say it that way and get a reaction. You got me here. We're debating, right? But if you really want to get your message clear so people don't misinterpret you, because I remember you've said many times people misinterpret you all the time. It'd be really cool for you to make a video where, here, I'm going to speak as clearly as I possibly can. Here's what I believe about the definition of veganism or the health consequences of going vegan. That would actually be really helpful for you and for the community, so they know what you're trying to say. Because that's why I'm asking these questions, because I'm really not sure what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something I'll address, Ryan. You know, my audience on YouTube, like, I'm not trying to cater to vegans or people that are what I would assume is from the vegan social media elite. You know, yes, people misinterpret me, and maybe I say things that I would have rephrased or reworded after. But, you know, at the end of the day, Ryan, I think for people to, you know, consistently barrage me with the statement, you're not vegan, you're just plant-based, it's laughable, it's comical, and it's a reflection of the sickness and the, you know, the turmoil that already is in the vegan community. It has nothing to do with me being here or not. You know, let's go back to the Fully Raw Christina thing. It had nothing to do with me. I never even made a public comment on it. And Fully Raw Christina recently was involved in a scandal with leather shoes and was being called a fake vegan, and, you know, it caused some infighting. So I don't think that, you know, whether I'm on YouTube or not, like, talking about what I'm talking about, I just don't think that it really – people take this stuff way too seriously. And I think they come to my channel expecting some kind of, like, you know, some kind of statement or praise of veganism 100% of the time, and they know that's not what I do. And then when I don't live up to that expectation, you know, it disappoints them. And, you know, but it's just Vegan Cheetah's channel. Like, you guys,
it is.
Take it down.
I understand. I'll agree with you in the sense that I know people take things very, almost way too seriously. You know, we get attacked all the time for crap we've never done. You've done that to us too, but yeah, but I think it's these personal attacks that I think really offend people, like, you know, calling out Bananiac's baldness with no evidence, you know.
Well, you know, listen, like I said, my channel does have a reputation for being extremely negative, and it's something that I would like to change. And
are you damaging people's reputations and even their ability to you know, if you know, too many people hear these things like, oh, Banana's bald because he's vegan, you know, they don't know him, they'll just believe it. And I don't know if this is a sensitive issue or not, but like Emily, Bite Size Vegan, you know, she's been called out by you as like plagiarizing, and you know, that's some serious stuff.
Releasing that video probably Monday, and it is serious stuff. I don't want to say too much about it.
I mean, it's a serious accusation. I mean, plagiarizing, meaning.
Well, and I'm going to break it down. I am going to break that down. And somebody's asking for me to apologize, Bite Size Emily, and I will not apologize, Bite Size Emily, because I'll have the video out on Monday. It'll be a sit down drama video. But Bite Size Emily has plagiarized Aaron Janice videos, and I have the videos where, in chronological order, she has taken everything that Aaron Janice has said and placed it right into her video. I'm going to show you guys this. I mean, I'll show you the evidence.
Isn't this something we all do? It's called fair use. I haven't seen the videos, but I copy people's content all the time and place it into mine. You know, I copy stuff from the doctor's store. Jamie Oliver, I use content all the time.
Emily using every single fact in chronological order on Aaron Janice's Wool Industry Exposed video. She used every single fact in the same exact order.
You mean,
2 months after
did she copy
came out with the video, and she asked for Patreon donations after that, and never credited anywhere Aaron Janice's work.
Is she still video content, or is it just like ideas?
No, it's not video content. It's
ideas.
She lifted an entire article. She has actually done this with several other websites. Several other websites she has done this, and I will make videos about it. But no, I will not apologize, Bite Size Emily. A lot of people are calling me a liar on this. I don't hate Bite Size Emily, but the truth is, Ryan, she's making $5,000 a month on Patreon, and
that's what it says. I mean, it says I'm making like double what I'm. I have a small Patreon compared to hers. You know, it says we're making double what we actually get at the end of the month. So who knows what she's actually making there? I don't know too much. I've never met Emily. She seems like a nice person. I'd like to interview her if she ever comes through town. So I apologize. I know much more about Bananiac. I've known him for years. He's a bro of mine. So if anyone out there
the
in the
video's
audience
coming out, and a lot of people are calling me a liar about it, but it's shocking, and I don't want to say anything else about it, but no, I'm not planning on apologizing to Bite Size Emily for the person that
okay, I wasn't even going to ask you that. I'm just bringing her up as an example of like what you did to Tino. Just kind of made this, what to me seemed like an outrageous claim that could be potentially hurtful. One, and then fortunately he's got a thick skin, and he's been balding since he was in high school. He's not bummed about it, and you know it could be in some cases almost damaging to a person's like YouTube channel if if you throw in some really unsubstantiated major bad charges at them.
Maybe I should change my drama format more like to fan fiction, and then maybe I won't take so much heat for some of my wild speculations if it was more like a fan fiction kind of channel. But listen, I do think this was a really fantastic discussion. I have to run out. I'm actually late right now, but
yeah, we've gone over. Yeah,
maybe in the future, like we can do this again. I appreciate you having me on, and I want to thank everybody in the chat as well for at least hearing me out. And I hope I was able to clarify some things for you guys.
And I thank you for coming on too. I told you I wasn't, gonna be easy on you because I had some, serious, concerns and questions, and I hope the group here watching, are cool with how I handled this. I told them at the outset I wasn't going to throw hate at you. I wasn't going to make, call names or anything like that. I just want to keep it to the facts. So hopefully you guys are cool. If you want me to start a war and shoot them, that's not how Happy Healthy Vegan rolls. So yeah, if you want to continue this at a future time, I'm sure I'll have some more questions and issues after I process all this and probably watch it back too. So yeah, it's cool. I apologize. I'm saying I not apologize. I want to thank you for being man enough to come up here and talk about me about. You knew it was going to be some easy questions.
Yeah, it's. I do appreciate it. I do, and I appreciate the respectful, discourse. I guess
that's how we roll, man. Yeah, we're Buddhists. We don't hate.
Well, I'll keep in touch with you, and I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. And keep it carb, keep it rational. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, have a good evening. Thank you.
I'll see you soon.